future me and fellow travelers. This is Ginger Burns, and thank you for joining me on this journey. This is my YouTube intro video, and as you can tell, I've written a lot of notes. I've pretty much written this entire thing out, so I may be looking down a lot. So yeah, this is my introduction to YouTube. I've decided 2020 is going to be a now-buy year, a year of creation rather than consumption. So, you know, what better way to document this journey than becoming a content creator? I also wanted to be able to have a reference to come back to when maybe my will is not that strong, or, you know, maybe in a couple years when I feel like I might be rehabbed and I'm slipping back into my ways, my old ways, just to have a documentation of everything I've been through and the work that I've done to get to where I want to be. So yeah, obviously the possibility that a few of you will watch this and hold me accountable. You know, I know I'm going to tell my friends and family about this, so hopefully they'll tune in. So, you know, this is going to be a very basic intro to this kind of thing. I know this has been done so many times before, but I'm going to give a little background to what got me here, my goals and my rules, and just some ideas for what I want my channel to be, what kind of content I want on my channel. So the background, it's pretty long, but I'm going to try to keep it short. I wanted to start by just crediting my inspirations: Kimberly Clark, Hannah Louise Poston, Personal Philosophy Project, Angelica Nyquist, Smoky Glow, Lauren May Beauty, and Samantha March, Georgia Harris, and then one person that I've watched this entire time I've been on YouTube, which is Raw Beauty Christie. And I started watching her, you know, probably when she was around 30,000 followers, and right now she's about to hit 1 million if she hasn't already. But she's one person that throughout this whole time I have always watched. So the main person who has given me inspiration to start this channel and start this project and start this new, you know, part of my life is Hannah Louise Poston. She came up in my feed around October of last year now. This is January 1st, 2020. And I believe it was the video called "Should You Do a No-Buy Year?" I can't exactly remember, but I'm pretty sure that that's the one. And it's not the first type of video that I've seen like that on YouTube. I've seen so many, you know, anti-hauls and people doing no-buy years and all that kind of stuff. But something about her message was just like a lightning bolt into my brain and into my heart and into my soul. And after watching that video, I decided that it was time for me to do this. So I binged a lot of her videos for maybe, you know, an entire week. Decided to do the no-buy year in 2020, and I never wavered in the thought that I was going to do this no-buy year. I did waver in what my rules were going to be, what my allowances were going to be, what, you know, all that stuff was, but I never ever once wavered. I was steadfast from the second I decided that I was going to do this no-buy year. Another reason is in 2020, in August of 2020, I will turn 40 years old. So maybe, you know, it's an opposite of what the traditional midlife crisis would be considered. So rather than, you know, going out and spending a lot of money on a new car or getting a young boyfriend, I am going to rein in the spending that I've been doing this last really 20 years and try to do something else with my life for the next 20 or 30 or 40 years. Just a little bit of background on me. You know, when I was younger, at the beginning of my career, you know, early 2000s, you know, I was obviously making entry-level salary, and it was very little, and I always thought to myself, like, what is the point of saving so little money? Like, it's not going to make a difference. It's peanuts. I just, I never saved, and I would always buy myself, like, I would think, what difference is this $5 for this lip gloss going to make? Or, you know, $30 for these shoes going to make? Or, you know, whatever it may be. I really just thought that that would make a difference in my future as far as saving is concerned. So I bought those things. I bought the drugstore makeup, the fast fashion wardrobe, and as far as traveling, I bought, oh, sorry, buddy. My little doggy's down here just wanting my attention. I'm sure she'll make, this wasn't in my notes, but I'm sure she'll make, you know, plenty of appearances on this channel. This is Lizzie. I have another one named Charlie. So that's enough, Lizzie. All right. Anyway, so and in 2012, I had one change in job. I went from one company to another, a company that I had been with for 5 years, just learning, building my skills, to another company, and I doubled my salary. And that was huge for me. It was more money than I ever thought I would make in my life. I always thought that, you know, I would start saving when I started making more money. I wanted to preface that last story with what I just said. So 2012, making more money than I ever thought that I would make, and at the beginning of that, I remember how good it felt to be able to buy myself the stuff that I've always wanted on my wish list. You know, the nicer things, the a little bit more high price point things that I've always wanted. And so in 2012, I started buying those things for myself. And again, because I hadn't taught myself to save in that previous 12 years, you know, really 14 years since I started a job. Well, if you want to be real, I started my job in 1996. I started my first job, so I can't do math right now, but I could have been teaching myself to save for that many years, and I never did. So when the time came when I was making more money than I ever thought that I would make, I didn't have that skill in my pocket, and I didn't do it. I just spent and spent and spent and spent. It's now 2019 again. Obviously, you know, I've received more and more pay increases since then, and I am still living paycheck to paycheck, and it is sick. It's really, really sick, and it is absolutely because I never took the time to teach myself to save from the very beginning. I should have been doing that when I got my first job at Boston Market. I'm slanging chicken. I should have been saving, but I didn't, and now I'm here. You know, I'm still spending my money on the same things. Those things just cost, you know, 4, 5, 6, 10, 20 times the amount of what they used to, and none of it is going into savings. It's been pretty embarrassing this last year or two, you know, not be able to do things with my friends because I'm always broke. So yeah, that's why I'm doing this. Obviously, there is much more to it, and over the last 3 months, I really realized I am, and this is another Hannah Louise thing, I've realized that I am the woman that I've always imagined myself to be when I was younger, when I was 20. You know, I am the woman who is successful and able to buy myself whatever I want, and you know, up until recently been able to do whatever I want, and now that I understand that and see that, I realize that, you know, I am the woman I've always wanted to be, but at this point in my life, my priorities are changing. Like, I don't want all this stuff. I have all this stuff, but I don't need any more stuff. And so I want to try to change my vision of what I want myself in 20 more years to be. So I think that that's one of the things that will come out of this project. And thanks again, Hannah, for all of the legwork you did on that epiphany. I'm so thankful to you, and that you shared your journey, and it just resonated with me. And here I am doing something that I never ever thought that I would do. So my goal in this No Buy year it's simple. It's to save money, and it's a dollar amount, and it is $15,000. And it's hard for me to talk about finances, but I know I have to put that out there. I have to. This is for accountability. I want to spend $15,000 or saves $15,000. I have been working on that number for a very long time. I think it's attainable. I don't think that it's too unmanageable, and a lot of stuff is baked into that number. There are a number of things I need to pay off, and once those are paid off, I can start funneling more money into the savings and stuff like that. So anyways, that is my goal. So my rules are, and this one is pretty funny, but my first rule is no buying a cat. In my apartment, I'm allowed to have 3 animals max, 2 dogs and 1 cat. I have 2 dogs, and all last year I really wanted to buy a cat, but I'm allergic to them. I love them, but I'm allergic to them, and I just know that it wouldn't be a good thing for me. So just to stop myself from thinking about that, I am going to say no to that cat, to that kitten. Obviously, these are very standard things. No makeup or skincare, no homewares or plants, no clothing or accessories like shoes, bags, hats, scarves, etc., jewelry, rings, necklaces. I am a sucker for turquoise, so I can't buy any more of that. Gear. I'm in Colorado, so we like a lot of gear. So camping gear, camera gear, electronics, any type of sports gear, any type of workout gear. I have enough of that, and I need to start using it and not buy anymore. Craft and hobby supplies. This is another thing. Like, I get this idea of something I want to do in my head, and I spend a lot of time, researching it and researching all of the supplies that I'm going to need and everything that I'm going to need to complete this craft or do this hobby. And I go out and I buy, all the best things, and then once that's done, I just never do it. And so I have all these like craft and hobby things that I've wanted to do for 2-3 years now, and I've never done it. And then another thing is, and this is interesting because I'm just going to say it, no junk food or processed food. This includes, no Grubhub, no Postmates, no whatever any other delivery service is. That's going to be none of that, because right now I am sitting at home eating instead of out in the world doing all the stuff that I want to do, and I'm at home just being sad about the fact that I'm not doing those things. So this is interesting. I obviously have tried so many different diets or whatever, but I feel like making this a rule in my no buy, it's just hard and fast, no, you can't buy any of that. So we'll see how that works out. Actually, I know it's going to work out. I know I'm going to succeed at this. Okay, so the things that I can buy, I get eyelash extensions, and I'm not giving those up. I love those. The woman that I go to is my friend. I've been seeing her for about 3 years, and it's such a joy to go see her every 2 weeks. And refills, obviously, if I'm completely out of one category of skincare or for the trees or anything else around the house that I need. And I am actually including food in this. So I have a freezer full of food that I need to eat before I go out. I have a pantry full of food. Yeah, so food is something that I'm including in that. And it's okay for me to buy medical, obviously. Vacations and travel. So I have a number of vacations planned for this year. I'm going to need to buy flights. And what I have planned to do is give myself a, reasonable budget that I can spend on these vacations for souvenirs, gifts, those kinds of things. And then that leads into it is okay for me to do experiences like concerts, movies, nights out, etc. And to be honest with you, I have not been doing any of that. I haven't been spending any of my money on that, and I'm so sad about that. I used to do it a lot, but I found myself kind of just been increasingly becoming a hermit with my 2 dogs. So ideas for my YouTube content. And again, I'm making this content for myself in the future. Myself that I have been stealing from my entire life. I am now trying to give back to you. And so I'm going to make the content that I want to see and that I enjoy watching. Obviously, I'm not going to do anti-hauls. I'm not going to do, will I buy it? Because I feel like doing research for those will be difficult for me, for a while at least. I have decided to do 1 palette per week. I know this is nothing new, but I have a couple ideas kicking around that may make this fun and make this my own, and that could potentially be a weekly upload. I will definitely do inventory on my makeup and skincare, check-ins and get ready with me's. I'll start with check-ins, and maybe when I get more, comfortable taping, more comfortable recording, I would love to start doing some get ready with me's because I love those. Those are my favorite things to watch. Definitely declutters. This whole morning I've spent taking pictures around my apartment of all of the areas that need to be decluttered, and so I can have some good before and after perspective photos. And then weekly and monthly challenges or habits, or just kind of giving myself. So one of the things that's kind of been tough is I have all these ideas of all these things to do, and then I never do them, and I just think about them all the time, and then I just never do them. So I've been writing all of those down, and I'm ready to start doing those. So I think that that's what my next video is going to be, just going over those weekly and monthly, or week 1 and month 1 challenges. So that's it. See you next time. Goodbye.